What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today we do a random thing. This is a kind of a video style that I've seen some other retro video game YouTubers do. I thought, you know what, I'm going to jump in and join in with the fun. I've given myself a £10 budget and we're going to do the CEX £10 challenge. How many games and how many bangers can we get for 10 of our own pounds? Let's get out there and have a look what my local CEX has to offer. So we're going to have a nose in the Xbox 360 section. There is quite a good selection here. This is just my local CEX shop. Picked up a game called BlazBlue. I know there's this series of 2D fighters which I've never played. Blur is a great shout. That's a really fun game. I do plan to pick that up for the collection at some point, but £6 is a bit steep for this £10 challenge. Chrome Hounds is a, I'm guessing, an Armored Core-esque game, a mech game. Call of Juarez is pretty decent as well. I prefer the sequel, Bound in Blood. That's a bit better. But a really good selection in the 360 section in the CEX shop here. A lot of the generic titles there. Godfather 2 is a pretty good one, but that was about £6 as well. So I don't want to really, I want to go as cheap as possible for this challenge. We've got Vanquish there, a game I've not played by Platinum Games, which I really enjoy their games. So that might be one we think about for 150. Need for Speed The Run, a game that I kind of neglected. It kind of like passed me by a little bit. Let me know what you think about Need for Speed The Run. Doesn't seem too bad for £2 for 360. Might be something I'll pick up in the future, or you know, I might have picked it up in this challenge. Who knows? But yeah, it could be one we pick up. Time Shift is a pretty average one, if I remember correctly. I remember being blown away by the graphics at the time, but I think as a game it's quite generic. But it's only £1, so hey, that's not too bad for the challenge. It's pretty much where we want to be. Now, I've neglected the PS3 throughout the whole of these videos, really. So I thought I'd have a look at the PS3 section for anything decent. I've not really felt that enamoured to really buy a PS3 at the moment. It's all about PS2 and Xbox 360 at the moment for me, and PS5, because I've recently got a PS5, of course. Ridge Racer Unbounded is pretty good, very much like trying to be a Burnout version of Ridge Racer with a bit more of driftiness. Sonic Unleashed is, I find that, a quite an underrated game. Shadow of the Damned there, really expensive that one, £20 for that. Really good game though, really good game. A game I actually prefer more so than Resident Evil 4 is Shadow of the Damned. I think Shadow of the Damned is that kind of quirkiness I like. We're on to the PS2 section. My voiceover couldn't keep up with the footage here, but Defender looks quite cool. If you played Defender, you know what you're in for there. The Hobbit video game. When they made games before the films came out, and you know they were based more on a book, which is interesting. Let me know if you played the Hobbit game. I have no clue about that game whatsoever. Genji. Now this is sort of almost like Sony's answer to Onimusha. It was a very similar style game to that, from what I remember. We got all the Jak and Dexter games there. Kessen 3 is pretty cool. I like the Kessen games. Killzone was obviously is one that I'm definitely planning to grab at some point. I do want to get the trilogy set for PS3 for that, but Killzone was a good old game back in the day. Really kind of like a landmark shooter for PS2, if I remember correctly. Oni is a game I do want in the collection, but I'm biding my time whether I fancy playing it or not yet. But yeah, that's an old Rockstar game, if people didn't know. Oni is this old Rockstar kind of action, third-person action game. So as you can see, they had some really good titles in there for not a lot of money. A lot of, you know, £1.50 games, a lot of £2 games in there. So yeah, I feel like we've come away with a pretty decent selection. I've picked up 5 games in the challenge, and also I picked up some additional titles just for my own wanting, really. The games I wanted to pick up, I picked them up. But for the challenge part of today's video, we have picked up 5 titles ranging from 360, PS2 and PS5. I did find one PS5 title for the challenge. Anyway, let's, without further ado, get into these titles. First title picked up, Xbox 360, a really underrated RPG sequel. It was £1, complete inbox, and that is going to be Dungeon Siege 3. I think I mentioned about this game on one of my pickup videos, one of my project videos a few weeks ago. It was in I think the Bromley CEX at one point. But yeah, I did say this is a very underrated game that I really enjoyed. Bear in mind, I've never played the original Dungeon Siege game, so I don't know what they're like, but I thought Dungeon Siege 3 was a very fun isometric RPG. A lot of replay value on this as well. I feel like I had fun like trying different builds and running through the game with different styles of characters. But yeah, I found this one to be really good. For £1, I highly recommend this one. Really do. Complete in box as well, so happy about that. So that is the first game from the challenge. That is Dungeon Siege 3 on Xbox 360. The next game is a game that is published by Sega, developed by Platinum Games. I do love Platinum Games. I think they're very, very good. They've put out some of my favourite games ever, especially when it concerns action. They're one of the premier action developers for me. But yeah, I picked up Vanquish. Funny enough, I've not played this one. As much of a fan I am of the studio, I've not actually played this one. But this caught my eye, £1.50, and it has a nice lenticular slip cover there. Pull that off, and obviously it's just got the regular artwork. This one was also complete in box as well. I know this has been re-released fairly recently, but I'm pretty happy to check this out on 360 for £1.50. It is definitely a no-brainer for me for this one. So that is Vanquish. Keeping count, that is £2.50 of our challenge money down. Can we, meet budget and get other awesome titles? So we'll move on to the third title I picked up, following on from a video from a few weeks ago. Got the first game in this franchise, one of my favourite shooters of all time. It's backwards compatible, and I had to grab it for 360. So I had to grab the sequel as well. The sequel was even cheaper, £2, and that is Fear 2. I think this is still a worthy sequel to the first one. Story-wise, it's a bit all over the place, and perhaps it isn't as good gameplay-wise as the first one, isn't as groundbreaking as the first one, but I still felt like this was a really enjoyable game from start to finish to follow the first game. I thought that this was really, really cool. For £2, I had to pick this up for the challenge. It's also backwards compatible on all the new Xbox consoles, so that's always a plus in my mind. It's in great condition. The case is in beautiful condition as well, and yeah, the disc is in good condition also. But yeah, £2 for counting along. That's £4.50 off of our challenge today, but that's Fear 2 for the 360. And next game, you probably can guess what it is from the footage on screen behind me. This was £1.50. I was planning to get the PS3 trilogy box set, but I can't find it anywhere. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab the original game on the original hardware. That is Killzone. Yeah, this game was a lot of fun when it came out. I really enjoyed it. I think Killzone 2 probably beats it out in my opinion in terms of being the better game. But yeah, for £1.50, a great game to chuck onto the into the challenge. It's a good choice, I think. Comes with the manual, and the disc is in really good condition as well. So yeah, Killzone is definitely a game that I had to grab for the collection, but also it was a really cool cheap addition for this challenge to grab it complete in box as well. That's Killzone. The final game is a PS5 game. Now I really was surprised that I found this game so cheap. I didn't specifically look for this game when I was doing this challenge, but it was just on the shelf, and I thought, you know what, that'd be a great grab for this challenge. So far we have spent £6 in this challenge. This game was £4, completely now £10 challenge. So we met budget, guys, but the final game for PS5 is Back for Blood. Now, if you guys know this developer, Turtle Rock, they were famous for making the two Left 4 Dead games, published by Valve, of course. Classic co-op multiplayer, wave-based, kind of mission-based zombie shooters. Some of the best of its kind, in my opinion. Not played this one yet, so I'm not sure how I feel about it. But Back for Blood, I'm guessing for £4, it didn't do too well. I'm assuming by price. But you guys let me know if this is any good. That is the final game for the CEX £10 challenge. I think I did pretty well. So we've got Back for Blood on PS5, Killzone on PS2, Fear 2 on Xbox 360, Vanquish on Xbox 360, and Dungeon Siege 3 for 360. I don't know about you guys, but I think for a £10 haul, I did all right. I think I did alright. Let me know what you think about any and all of these games in the comments down below. Now let's get on to having a look at my additional pickups when I was out for this challenge. Now I'm in an iron about these two games. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to pick these up or not, but I thought, you know what, they were so cheap that I might grab them and they can be separate from the £10 challenge. The first game is for 360 and it was for £1.50. It was Forza Motorsport 2. I feel like this one gets a bit forgotten in the world of racing games these days, especially when it comes to Forza Motorsport games. Most people really highly talk about Forza 3 and Forza 4, and of course the Horizon games are really popular as well. But people forget where the series started. You know, like the first Forza game was quite a rough around the edges kind of racing sim. It was decent, but it wasn't, you know, quote unquote anything up to Gran Turismo level in my opinion. But I feel like they got there with Forza Motorsport 2. I do think it has its issues here and there in terms of how its progression goes and stuff like that. But I do feel like this does get forgotten when it stands up against Forza Motorsport 3 and Forza Motorsport 4. But I do feel this is a great one. For 150, it's an amazing racing experience in my opinion. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab this complete in box as it is. Shame it's the Classics edition, but for 150, the case is in almost mint condition. It still has like this sticky tab on the side as well. This is probably as mint as you're going to get without it being sealed. So really happy about getting this one for 150. That's Forza Motorsport 2. This game for PS4, this one, I really was surprised how cheap it was. CEX had a stack of these, about 5 or 6 copies of it on their counter. They have just priced up, and I don't know whether they've just taken their existing stock and they've done a price reduction on them, but I couldn't believe this was so cheap. It was a game that I played when it came out and I didn't really care for it that much. I was a bit done, I was a bit fed up with the open world kind of games becoming just the mainstay of gaming at the time. But for £3, I couldn't leave it. I couldn't leave it there. This was on my Project PS4 list, Horizon Zero Dawn. I can't believe how cheap this was. Obviously complete. It's even got the manual, which is surprising as well. You don't really get manuals these days. I'm surprised this PS4 version has actually got manuals. But I've just realised something really funny. They've given me the complete edition disc, which is actually really funny because in CEX they have the standard version, which is this one for £3. Then they have the complete edition, which is a bit more. It's about £6 or £8. So they've given me the complete edition disc, and I'm hoping it's all on the disc with the DLC and that, because that would be amazing if it is. So you know, funny, I've only just noticed that because it says it on the manual, and then I've just noticed it on the disc as well. So they've probably made a little error there, but I'm happy for it because it means it gives me more content when I do jump into this game eventually. But yeah, for £3 that is Horizon Zero Dawn. Really happy about getting this. Now I know it's the complete edition, I'm even happier. The final game for this video is a brand new title. I think it came out like mid-August time, and I forgot it even came out. And it was a game I had my eyes on because it's coming off the back of Elden Ring, From Software's mega hit, of course. And the series that I'm going to be talking about here, all the games in that have come out previously are all mega expensive, bar maybe one of the PS2 titles, for example. I'm talking about the brand new release, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. Now, I did want to get the PS5 version of this. I did have a voucher. This was £52, and I thought to myself, it's there. It's got a nice kind of slip box, which I was quite happy about. It was there. I've got an Xbox Series X, so I thought, you know what, it doesn't really matter what console I get it on, I just want to have it. So I picked the Xbox version because it was the only one they had. But yeah, really happy about getting this one. I'm not sure what it's going to be like. From what I've looked up on it, it is a straight up action experience from Software. So if you're going to go into this expecting a kind of Souls-like experience but with a mech, I think you're going to be fairly disappointed. I'm really hyped and looking forward to actually like checking this out because I've had some kind of an interest in the Armored Core games. Previously I had Armored Core 2 back in the day and loved that one. Not played any others, but like I said, the previous games of this franchise are really expensive, especially some of the Xbox 360, PS3 titles are really pricey now, like 50-60 quid, and maybe even higher for some of the other ones. So I wanted to get this on launch. I didn't really realise it came out, so I was happy to grab it at CEX. for the £52 thing with a voucher. I think it comes with a bunch of art cards and that as well. Let me know if you have any interest in Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. After Elden Ring, I was like, I need to get whatever From Software put out next, I need to get it. And I'm actually really happy it was an Armored Core game, because I did like them back in the day, and they're really expensive to get the previous games. So that is Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon with a nice little slipcover there on Xbox Series X. So that is it, guys. That is the titles I picked up for the £10 CEX challenge, and of course those extra titles I wanted to show off in this video. Let me know any and all of your opinions of these games in the comments down below, and as always guys, let's continue to build a games collection.